Captain Lee Daeho stared at the blinking red light on his command console. For 30 years of space travel, he had never seen an emergency signal come from empty space. The bridge of the Terran exploration vessel, Horizon's Edge, hummed quietly around him as his crew worked at their stations. "You sure about these coordinates?" Lee asked his navigation officer. Lieutenant Bay Unesio checked her readings again. "Yes, sir. Signal is definitely coming from Sector 77 Alpha, but according to our star charts, there's nothing out there, just empty space." Lee rubbed his chin thoughtfully. The Horizon's Edge was 3 days out from Earth, conducting routine surveys of the Outer Rim territories. Tay was supposed to be mapping asteroid fields and checking for mineral deposits. Finding a distress signal in the middle of nowhere was not part of their mission. "What kind of signal is it?" Lee asked. Communications Officer Park Jin-woo looked up from his station. "It's definitely human, Captain. Standard Terran Fleet emergency broadcast. But the signal is weak and intermittent, like it's coming from a ship with failing power systems." Dr. Park So-young leaned forward from her science station. As the ship's xenarchaeologist, she was used to studying ancient alien ruins and dead civilizations. But this was different. "Captain, I'm not reading any ships in our database that should be in that sector. Fleet Command hasn't sent any vessels to that region in over 6 months. Lee stood up from his captain's chair. Something felt wrong about this entire situation. In his experience, when things didn't add up in space, they usually meant trouble. But they couldn't ignore a human distress signal, no matter how strange the circumstances. "Set course for the signal's origin," Lee ordered. "Maximum speed." Horizon's Edge turned smoothly through space, its engines pushing the ship toward the mysterious coordinates. As they traveled, the signal grew stronger. Park Jin-woo managed to clean up some of the static. "Captain, I'm getting more data now," Park said. "The signal is definitely from a Terran vessel. Ship designation Iron Phoenix. But sir, that name isn't in any of our fleet registries." Dr. Park So-young frowned at her scanner readings. "I'm detecting some unusual energy signatures from the target area. The readings don't match any known human technology." Lee felt a chill run down his spine. Unknown human ships with unknown technology were never a good sign. "How long until we reach the coordinates?" 2 hours, Captain," Lieutenant Bay replied. Those 2 hours felt like the longest of Lee's career. The crew worked quietly, but he could sense their nervousness. Everyone knew that finding unexpected ships in deep space usually meant pirates, military secrets, or worse. When they finally dropped out of faster-than-light travel, the entire bridge fell silent. Floating before them in the darkness of space was a ship unlike anything Lee had ever seen. It was massive, easily 3 times the size of the Horizon's Edge. The hull was a dark metallic gray that seemed to absorb light rather than reflect it. Strange angular sections jutted out from the main body, and weapon arrays that looked far too advanced for current human technology lined its surface. "My God," whispered Dr. Park So-young. "Cut the size of that thing." The ship was clearly human in design. Lee could see the familiar geometric patterns and structural elements that marked all Terran fleet vessels. But this ship looked like it had been built by humans from 100 years in the future. "I'm reading no life signs," reported Chief Medical Officer Kim Taman. "The ship appears to be completely dead in space." Lee studied the massive vessel through the main view screen. "Any response to our hails?" Park Jin-woo shook his head. "Cotton. But the distress beacon is still transmitting." "Run a full sensor sweep," Lee ordered. "I want to know everything about that ship." Dr. Park So-young bent over her science console, her fingers flying across the controls. After several minutes, she looked up with confusion written across her face. "Captain, these readings don't make sense. The whole composition includes elements I've never seen before. The atomic structure is unlike anything in our periodic tables. And the energy signatures. They're completely foreign to our technology. Commander Kim Minho, Lee's second-in-command, stepped forward. So I recommend we maintain safe distance until we know more about this vessel. Lee nodded, but his curiosity was stronger than his caution. Dr. Park, is there any immediate danger? No active weapons or defensive systems that I can detect, she replied. Atopton, there's something else. I'm reading massive power conduits throughout the ship, but they're all dark. It's like this vessel was designed to channel enormous amounts of energy, but everything has been shut down. Suddenly, the view screen flickered. The image of the mysterious ship wavered for a moment, then stabilized. What was that? Lee demanded. Lieutenant Bay checked her instruments. Unknown, sir. It's for just a second. Our sensors lost track of the vessel, like it wasn't there. Dr. Park So-young stared at her readings in disbelief. Captain, that's impossible. Our ships don't just disappear and reappear. The energy required to do something like that would be... She trailed off, her face pale. Would be what, Doctor? Would be beyond anything we understand about physics, she finished quietly. Lee made his decision. Commander Kim, prepare a boarding party. Full environmental suits and maximum precautions. If this is some kind of experimental human vessel, we need to find out what happened to its crew. Yes, sir, Kim replied, though Lee could hear the reluctance in his voice as the boarding party prepared their equipment. Lee continued to stare at the massive ship on the view screen. Every instinct told him that they had stumbled onto something that would change everything. The question was whether that change would be for better or worse. The Iron Phoenix hung silently in space, keeping its secrets. But Lee had the feeling that those secrets were about to be revealed, whether humanity was ready for them or not. In the depths of space, ancient and impossible, the warship that shouldn't exist waited for visitors who might finally understand why it had come to be. Commander Kim Minho floated through the airlock, connecting the horizon's edge to the massive Iron Phoenix. His environmental suit felt heavy as he pushed himself forward into the unknown vessel. Behind him, 3 other crew members followed, carefully, their helmet lights cutting through the darkness. Atmosphere is breathable, reported Chief Engineer Yoon Jae-wook through the comm system. But I'm reading some strange energy patterns throughout the ship, like the whole vessel is humming with barely contained power. The boarding party moved slowly through corridors that seemed too wide and too tall for a normal human ship. Emergency lighting flickered along the walls, casting strange shadows that made everyone nervous. The design is definitely human, Kim observed, examining the wall panels. But look at these materials. This metal feels completely different from anything we use. Dr. Park So-young's voice crackled through their communicators from the horizon's edge. I'm monitoring your progress. The energy readings are getting stronger as you move deeper into the ship. Be careful. The team reached what appeared to be the main bridge after 10 minutes of careful exploration. The space was enormous, with command stations arranged in a semicircle around a central chair. But what caught everyone's attention was the fact that all the stations were glowing softly, as if waiting for someone to use them. This is impossible, whispered Security Officer Lee Hyojin. The ship appeared dead from the outside, but everything in here is powered up and running. Yoon Jae-wook approached one of the engineering stations. His scanner readings made him step back in shock. Commander, these power levels are off the charts. This single console is drawing more energy than our entire ship uses in a week. As Kim moved toward the captain's chair, the main view screen suddenly activated. The team jumped back, hands moving to their weapons, but the screen simply displayed a star map that none of them recognized. Then a voice filled the bridge. It was calm, female, and unmistakably human. Welcome aboard the Iron Phoenix. I am Arya, the ship's artificial intelligence. You are not the crew I was expecting, but your arrival suggests that events are proceeding as predicted. Kim raised his weapon, though he wasn't sure what good it would do against a computer. Who are you? What is this ship? The AI's voice seemed to come from everywhere at once. I am the consciousness of Admiral Choi Haichin, integrated into this vessel's systems before our final mission. This ship comes from your future, Commander Kim, a future where humanity fights for its very survival. The boarding party exchanged worried glances. Time travel was the stuff of science fiction, not reality. That's impossible, Kim said firmly. Time travel doesn't exist. Many things that shouldn't exist do exist, Commander. Your presence here proves that. The main screen changed to show images that made everyone's blood run cold. Earth burning. Massive alien ships bombarding human colonies. Refugees fleeing in overcrowded transports while strange vessels pursued them through space. This is what happens in your timeline unless we change it, Arya continued. The Dominion finds Earth in 18 months from your current date. Destroy everything. Dr. Park. So-Young's voice came through their communicators, excited but worried. Commander, I'm reading massive data transfers from that ship. Terabytes of information are flowing into our computer systems. Yoon Jae-wook was studying the engineering displays with growing amazement. These power systems use principles I don't understand. Look at this reactor design. It's not just generating energy, it's bending space around itself. Arya's voice took on an urgent tone. Engineer Yoon, you are correct. This ship operates on dimensional manipulation technology. We had to develop it to fight enemies that exist partially outside normal space-time. The images on the screen changed again, showing alien creatures that looked like nothing in human records. Some had too many arms, others seemed to be made of living metal, and a few appeared to shift between different forms. The Dominion is not one species, Arya explained. It is a collective of races that consume other civilizations. Taya conquered thousands of worlds across multiple galaxies. When they finished with one timeline, they moved to another. Kim felt sick as he watched the images of human worlds being stripped bare. Why should we believe any of this? Because, Commander, they are already coming. The screen switched to a real-time display of space around their current location. In the distance, moving steadily toward their position, were 5 ships that definitely weren't human, back on the horizon's edge. Captain Lee Daeho was studying the same sensor readings with growing alarm. Dr. Park, are those ships using any technology we recognize? No, sir, she replied, her voice tense. Their whole compositions are unlike anything in our databases. Captain, they're moving faster than should be possible without faster-than-light drives, okay? But I'm not reading any jump signatures. On the Iron Phoenix, Arya was showing the boarding party technical specifications that hurt their heads to look at. The Dominion uses technology that treats the laws of physics as suggestions rather than rules. Your current weapons and defenses will be useless against them. Yoon Jae-wook was frantically taking readings from the ship's weapon systems. Commander, these energy cannons are designed completely differently from our weapons. Instead of firing energy bolts, they seem to fire holes in space itself. The weapons were developed through 2 centuries of desperate warfare, Arya said, sadly. Each system on this ship represents thousands of human lives lost learning how to fight an enemy that views us as insects to be eliminated. Kim made a decision that would change everything. Arya, can this ship fight those approaching vessels? Yes, Commander. But doing so will reveal to the Dominion that this timeline possesses advanced human technology. It will accelerate their invasion plans. Approaching alien ships were now close enough to be seen on visual scanners. They looked like they had been grown rather than built, with organic curves and surfaces that seemed to pulse with their own inner light. Commander, came Captain Lee's voice through the communicator. Those ships are powering up weapons. We Need to get out of here immediately. Arya's voice took on a tone of grim determination. The choice is yours, Commander Kim. Run now and delay the inevitable, or make our stand here and now. But understand this, once we begin fighting, there will be no going back. The war for humanity's survival will have begun. Kim looked at his team, then at the approaching alien fleet. The future was rushing toward them, whether they were ready or not. Commander Kim Minho gripped the captain's chair of the Iron Phoenix as the alien ships moved closer. His hands were shaking, but his voice was steady when he spoke. Arya, can you get us back to Earth to warn Fleet Command? Atif, Commander. The Dominion ships have already sent a signal to their main fleet. Earth will be under attack within hours. Our only choice is to fight here and now. Through the view screen, Kim watched the 5 alien vessels arrange themselves in an attack formation. They moved with perfect coordination, like parts of a single mind. How do we operate this ship? Kim asked desperately. The Iron Phoenix responds to human thought patterns, Arya replied. Simply think about what you want the ship to do, and the systems will respond. Admiral Choi designed it this way so that any human could operate it in an emergency. Kim closed his eyes and thought about moving the ship forward. Immediately, he felt the massive vessel respond. The Iron Phoenix turned smoothly toward the approaching aliens, its weapon systems coming online automatically back on the horizon's edge. Captain Lee Daeho was trying to make sense of what he was seeing. The dead warship they had discovered was now moving under its own power, and his boarding party was somehow in control of it. Dr. Park, get me a communication link with Commander Kim, Lee ordered. I'm trying, sir, but there's too much interference from both ships' energy systems. Dr. Park So-young replied. On the Iron Phoenix bridge, Engineer Yoon Jae-wook was staring at displays that showed power levels beyond anything he had ever imagined. Commander, this ship has enough firepower to destroy a small moon, but the energy requirements are enormous. The ship draws power from dimensional fractures, Arya explained. It takes energy from the spaces between realities. This is why the Dominion fears human technology. We learn to use forces they cannot understand. The alien ships opened fire first. Beams of purple energy lanced through space toward both human vessels. The horizon's edge tried to dodge, but one beam clipped its port engine, sending the ship spinning. Captain Lee's ship is hit, Security Officer Lee Hyujin reported from his station. Kim felt anger rise in his chest. These aliens had come to destroy his people without warning or provocation. He thought about firing back, and the Iron Phoenix responded. The ship's main weapons discharged with a sound like reality, tearing apart. Instead of energy beams, the weapons fired what looked like holes in space itself. When these holes hit the alien ships, entire sections of their hulls simply ceased to exist. 2 of the 5 Dominion vessels were destroyed instantly. The remaining 3 scattered, clearly surprised by the power of human weapons. Impossible, came a voice over the communication system. It was cold and mechanical, speaking perfect English. Humans should not possess dimensional warfare technology. This timeline has been corrupted. Arya's voice hardened. Commander, they are calling for reinforcements. We have perhaps 10 minutes before a full Dominion battle fleet arrives. Kim was beginning to understand how to control the ship through thought alone. He imagined the Iron Phoenix moving faster, and it accelerated beyond anything that should have been possible. The ship seemed to skip through space, appearing in one location and then another without crossing the distance between. How is that possible? Yoon Jae-wook asked in amazement. The ship exists partially outside normal space-time, Arya explained. It can move through dimensions that other ships cannot access. The remaining alien ships tried to surround the Iron Phoenix, but Kim was learning to use the ship's abilities. He thought about being behind one of the aliens, okay? And suddenly, the Iron Phoenix was there, firing its reality-tearing weapons at point-blank range. The alien ship dissolved into nothingness on the horizon's edge. Dr. Park Soyoung was recording everything with growing excitement and terror. Captain, the energy readings from that battle are unlike anything in our physics textbooks. That ship is using principles we don't even have names for. Captain Lee was trying to help his engineering team repair the damage from the alien attack. Can we communicate with the Iron Phoenix yet? Still too much interference, sir, but I think Commander Kim is winning. The last two alien ships were retreating, but Arya's voice carried bad news. Commander, long-range sensors are detecting a massive fleet approaching. 57 Dominion warships, including 3 planet killers. Kim felt the weight of responsibility crushing down on him. Can we defeat that many ships? Not alone, but the Iron Phoenix carries complete technical specifications for advanced human weapons and defenses. If we can transmit this information to your fleet, humanity might have a chance. Through the view screen, Kim could see the approaching Dominion fleet. The ships were enormous, some of them larger than Earth's moon. They moved in perfect formation, like a swarm of deadly insects. Arya began transmitting all technical data to every human ship and colony in range. Kim ordered, "Transmission begun, Commander, but the Dominion will try to stop us. They cannot allow this information to spread." The enemy fleet opened fire, while still thousands of kilometers away. Beams of energy that could crack planets lanced through space toward the Iron Phoenix and the horizon's edge. Kim thought about protecting both ships, and suddenly a barrier of twisted spacetime appeared around them. The alien weapons struck the barrier and simply disappeared into other dimensions. "Incredible," whispered Yoon Jae-wook. "We're using the universe itself as a shield." But the strain was enormous. Kim could feel the ship's systems working at maximum capacity. "How long can we maintain this?" "Not long enough," Arya replied grimly. "The Dominion has weapons designed specifically to counter dimensional defenses. They have fought humans like us before, in other timelines." As if summoned by her words, the largest Dominion ship fired a weapon that Kim had never seen before. Instead of an energy beam, it launched what looked like a sphere of absolute darkness. When the sphere hit their dimensional barrier, it began eating through it like acid. "Commander, that's a reality bomb," Arya warned. "It destroys the fundamental structure of space-time itself. It cannot defend against it with current power levels." Kim realized they had only one choice left. "Arya, what happens if we overload the dimensional drive?" "It would create a massive space-time explosion. Any ship within 10,000 kilometers would be destroyed, including us." Kim looked at his small crew, then thought about Earth and all the human colonies that would be destroyed if the Dominion won. Do it. But before Arya could begin the overload sequence, something unexpected happened. The space around them filled with new ships, human ships, using designs based on the technical data the Iron Phoenix had been transmitting. Captain Lee's voice came through the communication system, finally clear. "Commander Kim, this is Fleet Admiral Lim Dongjun. We received your technical data and implemented it as quickly as possible. The entire Terran fleet is here to support you." Kim stared in amazement as hundreds of human ships appeared around them, all equipped with weapons and defenses based on future technology. The war for humanity's survival had truly begun. Fleet Admiral Lim Dongjun stood on the bridge of his flagship, watching the battle unfold through the main view screen. The human fleet had arrived just in time, but he could see that even with their new weapons, they were barely holding their own against the Dominion forces. "Admiral, we're receiving continuous data streams from the Iron Phoenix," reported his communications officer. "New weapon designs, shield modifications, tactical information. It's like having a manual for fighting. A war we've never seen before. Lim nodded grimly. Implement everything as fast as our engineers can manage. We need every advantage we can get. On the Iron Phoenix, Commander Kim Minho was learning that controlling an advanced warship was harder than it looked. Each time he used the ship's dimensional weapons, he felt a strange pulling sensation, as if something was being taken from him. Arya, why do I feel so tired after using the weapons? Kim asked. The ship systems are connected to human consciousness, Arya replied. Each use of advanced weapons requires a portion of your life force. This is the price of wielding power that shouldn't exist. Engineer Yoon Jae-wook was studying the technical readouts with growing concern. Commander, I'm seeing some disturbing information in these databases. The weapons we're using require rare elements that can only be found by destroying inhabited planets. Kim felt a chill run down his spine. What do you mean? The dimensional cores need something called temporal crystals. According to this data, they form naturally in the cores of planets that have supported life for millions of years. To get enough crystals for a fleet of ships like this one, we would have to destroy worlds with life on them, Kim finished. Quietly, Arya's voice carried deep sadness. Okay, this is how humanity lost its soul in the future timeline. We became no better than the Dominion, strip mining worlds to fuel our war machine. By the time we realized what we had become, it was too late. The battle around them was intensifying. The Dominion ships were adapting to human tactics faster than expected. Several Terran vessels had already been destroyed, their crews vaporized by alien weapons. Dr. Park, So Young's voice came through the communication system from the horizon's edge. Commander, I'm detecting something strange about the Dominion ships. They're not just individual vessels. They seem to be connected somehow, sharing information instantly. You are correct, Dr. Park, Arya confirmed. The Dominion operates as a collective consciousness. Each ship is part of a larger mind. This is why they coordinate so perfectly. Security Officer Lee Hyojin was monitoring the tactical displays when he noticed something alarming. Commander, the Iron Phoenix is starting to flicker again, like it did when we first found it. Kim looked around the bridge and saw that some of the control panels were becoming transparent. Arya, what's happening to the ship? The temporal paradox is growing stronger, Arya explained. My presence in this timeline is creating contradictions that reality is trying to resolve. Okay? The ship is slowly being erased from existence. Elite. Admiral Lim's voice came through the communication system. Iron Phoenix, we need your help. The Dominion is bringing up their planet killer ships. Our new weapons can't penetrate their shields. Skim thought about moving to intercept the massive alien vessels, but the Iron Phoenix responded sluggishly. The ship was definitely becoming less solid as time passed. Arya, how long do we have? Perhaps 6 hours before the ship fades completely from this reality. But Commander, I have been analyzing the tactical situation, okay? And I believe there is a way to win this battle and save humanity's future. Tell me. K, the Dominion collective consciousness has a central node ship. If we can destroy it, the entire fleet will be temporarily paralyzed. But reaching it will require using the ship's temporal engines at maximum power. Yoon Jae-wook looked up from his engineering station with worry. Commander, using the temporal engines at that level will accelerate the ship's disappearance. We might only have minutes afterward. Kim realized they were facing an impossible choice. Use the ship's full power to win the battle, but guarantee their own destruction. Or hold back and watch humanity lose the war. On his flagship, Admiral Lim was coordinating the human fleet's defense, but he could see they were losing. The Dominion ships were simply too advanced and too numerous. All ships fall back to defensive positions around Earth. We need to protect the homeworld at all costs. But as the human ships retreated, the alien fleet pressed their advantage. The massive planet killer ships moved forward, their weapons charging with enough power to crack Earth's crust. Arya, if we destroy their command ship, will that stop the planet killers? Kim asked. Yes, but only temporarily. The Dominion will eventually establish a new command structure. However, it will give humanity time to prepare better defenses. Kim made his decision. Do it. Maximum power to the temporal engines. The Iron Phoenix began to change. The ship's hull started glowing with an inner light, and space around it began to twist and bend. The vessel was pushing itself partially outside of normal reality. Commander, the ship is becoming unstable, Yoon Jae-wook warned. The hull is starting to phase in and out of existence. Through the view screen, Kim could see the Dominion command ship. It was enormous, easily 10 times the size of the Iron Phoenix, and surrounded by dozens of smaller vessels serving as escorts. Arya, can we reach it? Yes, but the energy required will completely destabilize our temporal matrix. Once we begin the attack run, there will be no turning back. Kim looked at a small crew. They had volunteered for a simple exploration mission and ended up in a battle for humanity's survival. Everyone understand what this means? They all nodded. They knew they were about to sacrifice themselves to save their species. The Iron Phoenix accelerated toward the Dominion command ship, moving faster than light without using conventional drives. The ship was skipping through dimensions, appearing and disappearing as it closed the distance. The alien escorts opened fire, but their weapons passed harmlessly through the phasing human vessel. The Iron Phoenix had become partially unreal, existing in the spaces between normal matter. Target acquired, Arya announced, preparing dimensional lance weapons for maximum discharge. But as they approached the command ship, Kim realized something terrible. The aliens weren't just trying to conquer humanity. They were trying to prevent something else entirely. Arya, why aren't the Dominion really here? The truth, this time, Arya's voice carried a weight of terrible knowledge. 'Cause, Commander, in every timeline where humanity survives and develops advanced technology, we eventually become something far worse than the Dominion ever was. They are not the invaders. They are trying to save the universe from us. Commander Kim Min-ho felt the weight of Arya's words crushing down on him. The Iron Phoenix hung in space just kilometers from the massive Dominion command ship, its weapons charged and ready to fire. But now everything had changed. What do you mean we become worse than them? Kim demanded. Arya's voice carried centuries of pain and regret. In the future timeline, humanity survives the Dominion War. But in our desperation to win, we use every weapon, destroy every world that stands in our way. We become conquerors worse than any alien species. We consume entire galaxies. Engineer Yoon Jae-wook stared at his place in horror. It's technical data we've been sending to the fleet. It's not just weapons, it's instructions for building an empire of destruction. The Dominion has seen this pattern before, Arya continued. Young species that gain advanced technology too quickly always follow the same path. They try to stop us before we become unstoppable. Akeem looked through the view screen at the alien command ship. So they are trying to save the universe from humanity. Yes, but they are wrong about one thing. This timeline is different. You are different. Security Officer Lee Hyojin was monitoring the tactical situation. Commander, the human fleet is falling back toward Earth. The planet killers are moving into position. If we don't act soon, it won't matter what we become in the future. Kim felt torn between impossible choices. Destroy the Dominion and risk humanity becoming galactic destroyers, or let Earth burn and hope that was somehow better. Arya, there has to be another way. There is, Commander, but it requires the ultimate sacrifice. On his flagship, Fleet Admiral Lim Dongjin was watching his fleet get pushed back toward Earth. The new weapons were helping, but not enough. Human ships were being destroyed faster than they could be replaced. "Sir, the Iron Phoenix has stopped moving," reported his tactical officer. "It's just sitting there next to the Dominion command ship." Lim grabbed his communication device. "Iron Phoenix, what's your status? We need you to attack now." But no reply came. The mysterious warship hung motionless in space while the battle raged around it. On the Iron Phoenix bridge, Arya was explaining the final option. The ship's temporal engines can do more than just travel through time. They can lock this entire timeline away from all others. The Dominion will be trapped here, unable to reach other realities, but the process will destroy both them and us, Kim. Understood? A temporal prison. We all die, but we save every other version of humanity in every other timeline. Exactly. Dominion will be stopped, and this timeline's knowledge of advanced weapons will die with us. Humanity in other realities will develop slowly, naturally, without the corruption that comes from gaining too much power too quickly. Yoon Jae-wook was studying the engineering requirements. "Commander, the energy needed for this will tear apart space-time itself. Everything within a light year will be destroyed, including Earth," Kim said quietly. "No, Commander, the temporal lock can be focused, can save your solar system while destroying only the Dominion fleet and ourselves." Kim looked at his crew. They had joined him on what should have been a simple boarding mission. Now they were being asked to save not just humanity, but the entire universe. "What about you, Arya? What happens to Admiral Choi's consciousness?" Arya's voice became soft, almost human. "I will finally be able to rest, Commander. I have been fighting this war across multiple timelines for what feels like eternity. This is my chance to end it for good." The Dominion command ship was beginning to move, its massive weapons turning toward Earth through their collective consciousness. The Kalians had realized that the Iron Phoenix was no longer a threat. "Commander, we need to decide now," Lee Hyojin urged. "The planet killers are almost in position." Kim closed his eyes and thought about everything that had led to this moment. A routine exploration mission that had become humanity's last stand. A ship from the future that carried both salvation and damnation. An enemy that was trying to save the universe from humanity's own dark potential. "Arya, if we do this, will humanity have a chance to become better? To grow without repeating the same mistakes?" "Yes, Commander. Without the advanced technology, humans will have to develop slowly. They will learn wisdom along with power, okay? They will have time to grow into the species they were meant to be." Kim opened his eyes and looked at his crew one last time. "Are we all in agreement?" Engineer Yoon Jae-wook nodded. "Better to die as heroes than live as monsters." Security Officer Lee Hyojin checked his weapon one final time. "At least this way, Earth survives." Kim turned to the view screen and spoke to the alien command ship. "Dominion Fleet, this is Commander Kim Minho of the Iron Phoenix. You came here to stop humanity from becoming a threat to the universe. You were right to be afraid. But you're wrong about this timeline." The alien voice came back immediately. "Human consciousness detected. Surrender your vessel and accept relocation to containment worlds." "No," Kim replied firmly. "We choose a different path." He thought about activating the temporal lock, and the Iron Phoenix responded. The ship began to glow with an inner light that hurt to look at. Space around the vessel started to crack like broken glass. On Earth, Dr. Park So-young was monitoring the energy readings from the horizon's edge when her instruments went crazy. "Captain Lee, something massive is happening out there. Energy levels are off the charts." The Iron Phoenix was becoming transparent, but not fading away like before. Instead, it was becoming something else entirely. The ship was transforming into pure energy, becoming a weapon that could rewrite the laws of physics themselves. "Arya, send one final message to the human fleet," Kim ordered. "Tell them to remember this day. Tell them to always choose to be better than their enemies." Message was transmitted in the split second before the temporal lock engaged. Then the Iron Phoenix exploded outward, not with fire and destruction, but with waves of temporal energy that washed over the Dominion fleet. One by one, the alien ships simply stopped existing. They didn't explode or burn. They were erased from this timeline completely, locked away in a pocket of space-time where they could never escape. The planet killer ships that had been aimed at Earth vanished just before firing. The massive command vessel disappeared mid-transmission. In the space of heartbeats, the entire Dominion fleet was gone on his flagship. Admiral Lim watched in amazement as the Iron Phoenix faded away in a burst of light. All ships report status. One by one, his captains confirmed that the alien threat was over. The Dominion fleet had vanished completely 20 years later. Dr. Park So-young stood before a class of young cadets at the Earth Space Academy. Behind her was a holographic display showing the Iron Phoenix in all its impossible glory. The ship that shouldn't exist saved us all, she told her students. Not by being the strongest or the most advanced, but by choosing sacrifice over victory. The crew of the Iron Phoenix showed us that true strength comes from knowing when not to use power. One of the cadets raised her hand. Professor Park, do you think we'll ever build ships like the Iron Phoenix again? Dr. Park smiled sadly. I hope not, young cadet. I hope we never need to. The Iron Phoenix taught us that some prices are too high to pay, even for survival. Sometimes the greatest victory is choosing not to fight at all. Outside the academy windows, the stars shone peacefully in the night sky. Somewhere among them, in the locked pocket of time and space, the crew of the Iron Phoenix kept eternal watch over a swampy Dominion fleet that would never again threaten any world. Their sacrifice had given humanity something more valuable than any weapon, the wisdom to choose a better path.